Hello and welcome to Moments of Motivation. I'm your host, Javon, and I'm joined here today with my fellow brothers in arm, Paul. All right, now, Paul, how have you been doing today? And introduce yourself to the viewers.
I'm doing very good today. I'm here for a very interesting conversation.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what I want to do with all my guests is want them to give their favorite color, their current mood, and something interesting that has happened to them today. But
Okay.
given that, it's pretty early in the day, you can just say something that you've done today.
Okay. My favorite color is yellow. The current mood that I'm in, I would say I'm in a very jolly mood right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nothing interesting. So, one thing that I did today was get ready for this podcast.
And you was getting ready for the podcast, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. That's good. Now, I want to go ahead and dive into the first topic, which is, checking up on college work, making sure that you're doing okay in college. So,
hmm
how are you feeling about, the whole college lifestyle? This is your first year, so.
Wow. It's something. It's different from high school. I can say that, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And the workload, it isn't too much. You just gotta stay on top of it. And I feel like at this point, I've gotten way better at that than when I first came here. So yeah, right now it's going pretty good, I'll say.
Okay, okay, that's good. I know, like, the transition from high school to college can be pretty, it can be a lot for,
Yeah.
a high school student, especially if don't have like much you don't have that much like guidance or
Yeah.
like people, because like in high school we always had the teachers saying like, oh, make sure you do your work. If you don't turn it in, it's a zero, right?
hmm
But in college you don't really get that aspect. It's like, hey, here's the work online. If you do it, you do it. If you don't, oh well.
Oh yeah. Oh,
It's not really my problem if you don't do it, right?
exactly.
And that's kind of like a thing, something that like a lot of people struggle with when they're like in college, actually like doing the work. And um like you said, the workload isn't too much unless you don't do the work,
Unless you don't do it.
because then you'll end up having to do the work from last week and this week. And I mean, separately they're like, pretty decent in workload
hmm
amounts, but together it's like, oh my god, this is too much for me, right?
Yeah.
So with a lot of college kids, they tend to fall behind. They burn out because then they see they're missing like 40, 50 assignments just because they haven't done work in like 2 to 3 weeks. I'm talking from
Yeah.
experience as well. There was one point where I was like 55 assignments behind, but I mean, I did it. I caught up, brought my grades back up, got
hmm
past it. Times of like how college actually is right now and like how I'm doing in it at the moment, I'm in a pretty decent spot right now. I'm not much so ahead on my schoolwork. More, I'm in the catching up part right now. We did just come off spring break a few weeks ago. Still
hmm
recovering from that. They gave us assignments over the break, but I was like, not doing that because this is a break, right? I'm finna enjoy it.
mm
So mm, I'm just catching up from there. But I'm once I get caught up and whatnot, I should be okay.
Yeah. But like what you said, I really haven't had like any problems with missing too many assignments. But
Mm-hmm.
I will say when it comes to like the most important assignment, I have missed a few for some reason. And right now I am turning those back in so, I can fix my grade. Everything will be fine.
All right, that's good. Just as long as you get it done and get it turned in, nothing bad should happen.
That's all that matters.
Because one thing I've noticed in college is like, teachers aren't so like nitpicky about the assignment. They just want to make sure you get it done. And like you like get a general understanding of the topic.
Mhm.
Or whereas in high school, teachers were like, like when we had to do essays, they were like, you can't use certain phrases and like it has to be this long. I mean, sure,
Mhm.
they still do it in college, but they're a little more lenient with it, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
I know for my math teacher, she's like, as long as you show your work, we can at least give you partial credit. But in high school, it was like, it does not matter if you got the right answer. If you didn't show your work, you're getting that wrong.
Yeah. Man, I
But
used to hate that.
yeah, because like, see, me in math, I'm like, I was always the type that was like, I'm not going to use a calculator. I can do most of the work in my head and I'll just put down the answer, right?
Mhm.
But high school, they wanted us to show our work. And that's not really like the way I do math. So I often struggled in that sense. Now, don't get me
Mm.
wrong, I was still good at math. I still had my A's and, my passing grades, and I was still doing good in the class, right? But when it came to showing work, oh my God, hated it. Absolutely hated it.
Hated it. 'Cause I did all my work in the calculator. I was not trying to write it down.
It's like we're almost complete opposites in that spectrum, but
Yeah.
one thing we can agree on, we hated showing work,
Hated it.
or that was terrible. But another thing a lot of people struggle with, myself included, was when you get to college, you're kind of living on your own in a sense. You don't really
Yeah.
have your parents there to, do like your daily necessities, like making sure you've eaten, making sure you got clothes on your back and stuff like that. It's kind of more so something you got to handle on your own.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly. Like once you get to college and after your first few weeks of being here, like it feels like all of your responsibilities become more apparent and it becomes very important that you knock those out the way so that you don't have any lingering things that's messing with your mental. Because you
right,
also got to work on your schoolwork and things like that.
right. My mom always told me, handle your business first, relax later. Because
Like,
if you relax now, that business starts creeping up on you quickly. You will get overwhelmed. That burnout
yeah,
state is going to happen. Not anything fun
not
about
anything to
it,
play with.
nothing to play with. All while we're talking about responsibility, what's some of the things you struggle with the most during the transition to high school? I mean, during the transition to college from high school.
The things, it would definitely be my sleeping. I had a I had a very big problem with staying up late high school and not even getting that much sleep. Cause sometimes I could even go to school and sleep. But now here, it's very important that I have the rest so that I can do what I need to do during the day. If you know what I
Mhm.
mean.
Rest is very important. One thing I always tell myself is like, when I'm like transitioning from my burnout stage to like a more productive state, I always
Hmm.
tell myself, it always starts with your sleep because like if you're tired, you're not gonna want to do anything throughout the day. Or rather than you, with you having energy, you'll actually have the energy to do the things you need to do. Like say you gotta do some schoolwork assignments, or you
Hmm.
gotta go out and handle some business. I don't know. You don't have energy. You might have that second thought of let me go back to the bed,
Yeah.
catch some rest or something. Just wasting more hours of your time, stuff that you could have been doing a little earlier in the day, like sleeping.
Hmm.
So it's always good to build a good sleep schedule for reasons like that. I do highly encourage it to anyone who is like struggling to get into a more productive state or anyone who's trying to like change their life for the better. It starts with yourself. Got to get your sleep. If you don't get your sleep,
Got
I
you.
doubt you'll be able to really just do as many things as you would be able to do if you had got that sleep,
It's way easier to get a burnout if you have no sleep.
right? Especially if you're just sitting around tired every day.
You're
That
gonna
burnout's
feel you're gonna feel really unmotivated.
and that burnout, like we said, nothing to play with.
Exactly.
I know one thing I struggled with when I first came to college was I would have to say just like building a schedule or like moving off of a schedule
Mhm.
because like you I did struggle with the whole staying up late, and I was in high school, I could move off 0 hours of sleep. Like I could
Mm,
stay up, I could pull an all-nighter, go to school the next day, go back to sleep, come home and go to sleep after I'm done with school, right?
mhm.
But with like the responsibilities being by yourself, without your parents and whatnot, waking up and then going out to do something so stressful,
Mm,
draining, especially if you haven't got your sleep.
mhm.
So like I did struggle with for like maybe the first month or 2 months, build a schedule that like really coordinates with the lifestyle that I need to be living at the moment.
Yeah.
Um, but it has gotten a lot better. I have worked on it and it's much better than what it was in August. I think that's when school started.
Mhm.
Yeah. So in August.
Yeah, I was exactly like you. Like, I noticed that without a schedule, I had way a lot more time to just not do anything. I got off track a lot, but I can say that making a schedule was one of the most important things that helped benefit me in the long run
Mm-hmm.
because I know where I'm spending my time, when I'm doing the things that matter, and giving myself the break that I need during the day and stuff like that.
I know another thing I struggled with was procrastination.
Yeah.
Heavy on that. I remember that first semester. That was the semester that I had the 50 past due assignments.
Yeah.
I would like look at the work, look at my computer, and I'm like, I think I want a game today. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna move that schoolwork to like the next day. And then I I also had like my actual job that I had to go to as well. So when there were days where I was not gaming, I was at work, doing my job. And I would tell myself, when you get off or like when your shift's over, we're gonna go home, we're gonna do some work, right? The moment I set foot in that dorm, oh my God,
I already know.
out, just out. No schoolwork
Exactly.
done, not even touched. Then I gotta wait back up again at 8 to get to class at like 9:45. Let
No.
me tell you.
Exactly. Like,
Oh, go ahead.
no, because I just wanted to add on to that because procrastination at first, like, you think it's easy to handle. Like that last 30 minutes before the assignment is due, you rush in, you get it done, and you like, okay, I'm not gonna do it again, but you do it again. And the more you do it, the more you don't want to do it. Like towards the end of my procrastination cycle, it just got to the point where like I ain't even want to do it no more.
Right.
And sometimes it's just too tiring. You never really know where your mental state is gonna be your last 30 minutes before the assignment is due. So
You really don't. It's
you
like you're
just
really taking a gamble too.
a gamble. And especially if you don't even check the assignment and it's a lot more than what it is, yeah, it's
Uh,
impossible.
Tell me about it. Bro, it got to one day. I remember this was last year actually. Last semester, um high school journey, I guess I'll call it. I had comp 2 as a dual credit, right?
Mhm.
And I procrastinated the final project, which was like a 7-page research paper, until the exact last day.
No.
When I say I stayed up for 36 hours on nothing but that paper, it got done. I made like a 91 on it, so I mean, it was worth it,
Yeah, that's good.
but at the same time it wasn't worth it. I just feel like, if I would have given myself more time to
Mhm.
like actually do the assignment, I wouldn't have had to stay up for that long. And when I got done, bro, closed the laptop, knocked out.
I can't even imagine how that must have felt. Cause me doing an assignment for 5 hours straight is just enough to put me in hibernation for real.
Bro, I was out, and I'm not even gonna lie. I think I was asleep for like 12, maybe 13 hours. I woke up. My mom was like, "Javon, what happened?" I was like, "College and
Well-earned
procrastination."
rest.
It was bad, man, but we got through it. We
And
got
it can yeah, it has to get better. It can only get better,
Hey, as
now.
long as you put in the work, you can always better yourself in any aspect.
Exactly.
I just decided to use that knowledge, and I put it towards trying not to procrastinate. But it's gotten better. But I have fallen back down into it just a little bit this semester. But I'm
Mm.
catching back up, so we should be okay. Speaking of as in procrastination, um,
I guess I can add studying in there too.
studying.
Yeah.
So how did you um struggle studying wise?
High school, you know how it was in high school.
Yeah,
It was 8 hours straight in class. You learned the materials in class.
mm-hmm,
And when you went home, you really didn't even have to study.
at
Like
all.
you did all you needed to do in class, and that's where you learned the material at.
Mm-hmm,
But in college, you have you have your lecture for like an hour, 30 hour, 15 minutes, and you go back to your dorm. But what you don't realize is it's still a lot of more things you got to go over and study to be more prepared for your test and exam.
mm-hmm.
I did not take that very seriously when I first came to college. And that's one thing I realized that you're really gonna have to put a lot of hours into studying so that you can really understand the material that you're going over.
That is true. I can say the experience was kind of the same for me. But see, the thing about me is
Mm.
I stopped studying for tests in second grade when I realized I could make 100 on a spelling test without like really looking over the words and practicing them. So from that point forward, I was like, all right, I'm not studying for a test. And I mean, it did me pretty well. I still passed all my classes. I did pretty well. I think the lowest grade I ever had at that time was a B, at least until I got to college. Then I got a C.
Yeah.
And I mean, that experience, it was like, at first, I was like, dang, kind of falling off, right? But at the same time, I was like, it's going to be okay. You're still like learning the gist of like the college life and what it is to like balance work, school, and your like actual life all into one.
Hmm.
So I didn't really beat myself up too much about it, but I still had to let myself know, like, let's just make sure it doesn't happen again, right? Because I haven't been known, I didn't like see myself as a student who tried too hard. Like, I wasn't pushing myself to get all A's, but I was also like making sure that I didn't like fail any classes almost, right?
Hmm.
When it came to like studying, I wasn't really too fond of it because I knew I didn't need it.
Mhm.
Because I don't really like, I think I do like worse when I do worse on a test when I study for it. Because the moment I look at the test, I forget everything that I have studied rather than me just going in there YOLOing it
Mhm.
and just doing well. Because I can like remember something that the teacher taught like maybe a week or two ago rather than me like studying material the day before and forgetting all the moment I take the test.
Mhm.
But yeah, I can still say that there is some other stuff you have to look over even after you get done with your lecture. Because, you know, some teachers, they like put in like extra assignments or like extra informational videos on their canvases
Mhm.
that they think will help you with the topic, which cases they do, depending on who your professor is or, you know, how your professor is in general. But most of them put it in with the intent of it actually helping you. So for any of you high schoolers or middle school thinking about how the college life is, if you're like me, you don't really need to study. But you know, if you're like a someone who's like had to study in high school, just know like you're gonna have to study what you did in high school plus a little extra. So just be prepared for that. Yeah. Anything else you struggled with in college?
Think think that's about it.
I know one thing I struggled with was managing money.
Managing.
Yeah, because like I remember the first semester, I would like spend like 150
Ooh,
eating out rather than like just going to the grocery store and buying some groceries that can last me like a few weeks.
yeah.
So then it got to the point where my bank account had went into the negatives at one point, and my mom texted me and she was like, you know your bank account's in the negatives, right?" And I was like, "Huh?" Because little old Javon thought, you know, we still had some money in the bank account.
Yeah.
But one thing about me, like I don't really like checking my bank account daily. And I know later on it's gonna be a problem, but I just don't like stressing about money in general. So
Mhm.
I tend to like avoid looking at my bank account from time to time. If I do, it'll probably be like once or twice a week. But it's just to, you know, like see if I have how much I think I have
Yeah.
rather
Just to
than,
get a general idea.
yeah, rather than me just like spending and then checking to see how much I've spent for a certain time period. But yeah, I struggled managing.
And it's gotten better this semester?
Um, I mean, it started, but I am realizing that I'm starting to like go back into that state where I'm eating out every day.
Mhm.
Like just yesterday, I believe I had McDonald's. Then I went out and bought some chicken strips later on that day with a snow cone. Like, and in total, all of that was like
Around 40,
30,
$50.
35,
Oh, I'm tripping.
probably 40 max though.
Yeah.
I, I checked my bank account yesterday and I was like, man, that could have went to some groceries, like something that you could actually,
Yeah.
something that'll last a lot longer. But yeah, I struggled a lot with that. I still do a little bit, but not as much as I used to.
That's good.
I don't think I've really struggled with anything else in college wise, is it the same for you?
Yeah, I think that's it for me too.
Okay. So since we're done with well, not expectations, with the
Things we struggle with.
things we struggled with in
Mm.
college, I'd like to talk about the things we middle school and high school.
Mm.
Now, I know one thing I struggled with a lot was like not necessarily keeping good grades, but like keeping the grades that I had. Let's see, my parents, they were like, no C's, period, no C's. A's or
Yeah.
B's, and they didn't really like the fact that I got B's. They wanted me to get all A's, but I wasn't really the type to, like push myself that far or
Mm.
like that hard to like strive for all A's. I always knew that I struggled with English and that was the one class I was going to always have a B in no matter what. So I know I struggled in that aspect. I don't know. It's just like they always wanted to. They, I know they did it. I know they pushed me because like they knew I could do it if I like actually pushed myself that hard. But I didn't really like doing that. So I just stuck with my A's and my B's. Got my A's in science and maths, sometimes social studies. But when
Mm.
it came to English and history, well, no, history I was always doing good in. Just English. It was just English. I
Just
hated writing, hated reading. So I just never did good when it came to English.
yeah, I'm like that, but with math. I did not like math growing up, and I really still don't, but I'm pushing myself to know, learn it. And like you said, I guess one thing I struggle with in high school and middle school, just I guess caring about the way that I was doing and making higher grades. Yeah,
Yeah.
because if you would have asked younger me, I was gonna be a famous singer. Like,
Like,
yeah, I was not gonna be in school for long, but yeah, look where I'm at now.
I don't know, man. Like, when I was growing up, I always told myself, I was like, yeah, you're going to be a video game developer. But then, like, I started getting into coding classes when I was in high school, right? For dual
Yeah.
credit. And I soon came to realize, like, after like taking 2 years worth of coding classes,
Mhm.
I was like, I don't think I want to do this. So I went, um, oh, wait, actually, I was in another class before I took coding class. It was called, um, it was called Digital Media Technology. And I loved that class. Like, that was like my favorite class. If I came to school and that was my only class, I would show up every day. Like, I would probably throughout the summer, right?
Mm.
That's how much I liked that class. And the teacher was very cool. He was more so of like a mentor than a teacher, but I appreciated his existence.
Mhm.
Um, but like I was saying, I was in that class for um, I want to say 1 year, but I think it was 1 year. I was in there 10th grade, and then that class got canceled. They just took out the class immediately. Well, they took out the class altogether, right? I
Yeah.
got the news, bro. I was so upset. I was like, bro, I don't even want to come to school anymore. Like, I was so upset.
Yeah, I'd be upset.
So then it was like, put you in this class that's like similar to it, but not exactly like it. That's how I got introduced into coding. And I think the first year I took it, it was through dual credit, so I had an actual college instructor, but it was online. So,
Mhm.
and I mean, I didn't have the best experience, but um, I will say that feeling of when like you've spent hours and hours trying to code something and it finally comes out the way you wanted it to, best feeling in the
Mhm.
world.
Best feeling.
Best feeling. I remember I did like a and this is so embarrassing. And to all my coders out there, this was my first year. This was like the second or third assignment. Do not get on my case. So I did like a little calculator, I guess you could say,
Mhm.
for addition specifically. And it took me about like maybe 6 to 8 hours to do it right. Because I was struggling so hard. And it wasn't even like I wasn't like struggling with the code. It was just not coming out the way I wanted it to because I didn't have a colon somewhere.
Uh,
And that's usually like what it what the problem mostly is. And that's one reason why I was like, this video game stuff, it might not happen. Because like you can be sitting there for hours upon hours coding something, right? If you miss
mhm.
one symbol is all it takes. It will fuck up the entire program. The entire program. So
Entire program.
I'm just sitting here like, why am I even wasting this much time out of my life trying to code something just for it not to like come out the way I wanted to because of one symbol? Like that alone was like it was almost a deal breaker.
Yeah.
That and my experience with the teacher was not the best. So those two combined with each other, I was like, I'm not gonna
You
do
came to
this.
that conclusion.
Yeah, I was like, all right, it's time to switch majors, right?
Yeah.
So then around that time, I was like still doing video editing outside of college and school and whatnot. I was doing it as a hobby, right?
Mhm.
So when I was looking for like colleges to go to, I was seeing what their like video editing courses were like and like what degrees were offered or if they even offered that degree to begin with.
Mhm.
Um most that I looked at, um they did not, except for one. But to go there, the um the tuition and all that stuff, prices were way too high.
Mhm.
So, and I knew I didn't want to pay to go to college, especially after I had just spent like 13 years of my life, 12 to 13, struggling already, not even wanting to be there for real.
Mhm.
You telling me I gotta go to a place I don't really want to be at and I gotta pay to go there? Mm-mm. So I ended up, settling for a community college.
Mhm.
And obviously, they didn't have the video editing course that I wanted. So I decided to go into business and marketing. So growing up, I always knew I liked math. So when I saw marketing, I was like, all right, numbers, right? Obviously. And I know, like, I like looking at numbers on YouTube or like over social media. I just like looking at statistics. I always like figured if I didn't become like a video editor, I wanted to do something in that field.
Mhm.
So I just feel like this is like the a good way to transition into it or like throw myself in there. Um, and the classes are pretty easy too. So that's another plus side.
Yeah, that's
So, what's your major?
I'm majoring in computer science right now.
Mm, and how's that treating you?
It's treating me pretty good. I Right now I'm not really having any problems with it. I'm just learning and going through the motions. Like I said earlier, the main problem is just the math, which I am working hard to get through right now. So
Oh yeah, especially with computer science, they're like throwing you in all types of science classes and math classes, aren't they?
yeah,
So, what's the math class you're taking right now then?
right now I'm taking pre-calc.
Pre-calc?
Yeah, so got something to look forward to next semester.
What's next? Oh, calculus.
Yeah.
Oh my.
And I got a friend who's taking, well, you know who I'm
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah, I know you talking.
Yeah, and he making it seem like it's real easy. Uh, yeah, I'm prepared to go in there with my head held up high, and take care of what I need to take care of.
Should be
That's been
good
my
though.
yeah, yeah.
I
I'm
think,
learning a lot already in pre-calc.
bro,
Yeah,
as the person you're talking about, I think they pretty sure they already took like calculus already.
yeah, mm,
I don't know if they took pre-calc though, but I know they can help you out a lot with the calculus stuff.
yeah.
I think they took that in high school, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, they took it last semester.
The last semester.
Hmm.
So was it trigonometry? I don't know. I don't know. But I know I told myself I was like, all right, I'm not doing either of that. The highest I will go in like terms of math, highest that I've actually went college algebra, and that's about it. Took
That's
algebra.
about it.
Yeah, I took algebra one, two, three, and then college algebra. That's it. I'm not taking any more.
Even for your major, they're not making you take it anymore.
I already did all of my math classes for the major. Yeah, the only math that I have to do right now, which is a class that I'm in right now, is merchandising math. But that honestly just feels like it feels much easier than algebra. It's kind of more so like middle school
Mm,
math. So I'm not struggling in that class at all. It's very easy. But
yeah, that sounds nice.
I do know a lot of my classmates are struggling with that class. This one. But all right. I think that is about it.
Oh,
Um
we've covered everything.
I believe so. Uh, Yeah, we've covered about everything. Oh oh shoot. I didn't think of anything for an outro. Say um thank you guys for tuning in to Moments of Motivation. It has been Javon and Paul. If you guys did like it, make sure to um like it obviously. Subscribe if you want to see more and turn on your post notifications to find out well turn on your post notifications to be um let known when more episodes come out just like this one. And if you did like it, also make sure to comment what your favorite part of it was and things that you may also struggle with if you're in college. Things that you struggle with in college. How was the transition for you personally? And yeah, that's about it. Like I said, and Javon and Paul, thank you for tuning into the episode, and we'll see you in the next one.